Alright, I tell you what, it has been one slow, miserable week. The weather has been, I think it rained Monday. Tuesday, it was like 60, like upper 60s and sunny. I was dang near down to a t-shirt. Tuesday, I got leaves shredded for the last time. Wednesday, it rained. Thursday, we had like 4 or 5 inches of snow. Friday, it rained and took all the snow away. And then today's Saturday. So the week basically didn't amount to squat. I got a little bit. I'm down to one more rent check to hand out. I've been doing some crap on the phone. Yesterday I had to go down to Newton County, Indiana for a celebration of life for one of my college buddy whose dad I bought the 2255 off of. He passed away here at the beginning of harvest, October 1st, he was fighting liver cancer, and the kicker of the whole thing was he was beating the cancer, but the chemo made his liver shut down, and then his kidneys shut down basically immediately after, and it was a course of about 3 days. But they managed to get him out of the hospital and get him home, and he died at home, so with everybody around, so that was good. But that was back in October, and then harvest started, and they've been working on harvest, and they just decided they were going to wait till everybody was done, and that's how it ended up being yesterday. So that's what we did yesterday. And then I got more done today than I've gotten done all week. I had to clean my gutters this morning to get that project out of the way, and then I got the stalk chopper cleaned up, got all the hammers and stuff replaced on that needed replaced, so that's just ready to hook onto and go next fall. Other than I got to get a tube in that one tire that keeps going flat. And I got my grain truck cleaned up, vacuumed out, fixed a couple little things on it that were wrong with it. It's back in the barn, and then now we're going to try to get some soil sampling done on some more new ground that I picked up. That field we chisel plowed last, that field I've already got soil samples for. Nick they were a year old, so those are still good to use, so I got all the data for that field, so I got it chisel plowed and out of the way. This field is right across the road from Mom and Dad's house. The rest of this ground I'm all getting from the neighbor who used to live there, and I lives over that way somewhere. So this is 12 acres. It's kind of shaped like an L a little bit. I'm eventually going to get more out of this deal. He's getting out of the row crop and stuff because his health is just, he can't, mostly because he's basically suffering from crippling arthritis. He can hardly get on and off equipment anymore. So he's getting out of the row crop stuff, and he's got like 15 acres of hay left he's going to keep just to have something to play around with. There's like 9-10 acres over on the other side of the house. There's a little bit in the back of another field we're going to go to here in a minute. So once he decides to get out of the hay, I'm going to get all that ground too. But this field is the first field that I ever drove a tractor in doing any kind of tillage. And I'll have to find the picture of it. I've actually got a picture of me, because when they first moved in, all he did was hay. He didn't row crop anything. This was a hay field, and this is one of the first ones he put in. And I've got a picture of me on his Farm All H, which is still sitting down there in a lean-to. But they always had a little two-wheel snowmobile trailer they used for picking rocks, and I have a picture of me driving that H with Tim picking rocks behind me. Little Polaroid picture his oldest daughter took of me. I think I got it at my house in a photo album somewhere. I'll have to dig that out. I couldn't have been more than like 8-9 years old at that point. Might not even been that old yet. But that was right about there on that hill where, well, I can show you in a little bit. And then the first big tractor I ever drove working ground was his 1086. He'd put me in the seat and run the hydraulics for me, and I'd steer. But running the column mulcher while we were planting the hay, that's the first time I ever drove a big tractor, and it was in this field. Big tractor, if you want to call 1086 I mean, back then I thought that was like the biggest tractor in the world. But so yeah, I got a lot of history on this farm and in this field. We were raking hay one time with this Moline ZB. We actually coming up around this wet hole right here, and I was riding on the, would have been the right hand fender, the side the generator's on, and we're coming around this hill, and all of a sudden something shorted out and the wiring harness started smoking, and I tapped him on the shoulder. I was like, hey Tim, is that supposed to be smoking? And he said, hell no, it's not. And he shut the tractor off and took a pocket knife and cut the wiring harness, and then we brought the H around and pulled it back down the road, and I got to steer for that. So first time I ever ran a hay, or ever worked on a wagon stacking hay was in this field. First time ever raking hay was in this field. Yeah, I got a lot of childhood on this farm. A lot. So anyhow, we're gonna get to soil sampling. Oh, I got my camera fixed this week too, so now it shouldn't shake nearly as bad. Took first cutting off of it. I think he put the beans out here like the end of June, beginning of July. Yeah, it had to have been like the third week in June. It was a little earlier than second crop. They were still pretty late. They are probably some of the best damn looking beans around here. Like, he got incredibly lucky. They got in the ground, and then we got a bunch of rain right after he planted them, and then the rain shut off. It's kind of amazing they did as good as they did, but they were some pretty darn good looking beans. And actually, all of his beans were planted kind of late this year. That's all. He didn't plant any corn. He just planted all beans this year. And all of his beans look spectacular. I guess it's a good time to get out. You're going out with a bang. Alright, here it is from the back. We were up there in that front corner. This field's done. When I was a kid, it was hay all the way over. None of this was ever here. And then as he drug more stuff home, he needed a spot to, well, this was pasture for a while for his cattle, and I think he finally got rid of all the cattle. There might be one or two left in there, but it was hay all the way around. That's the other reason he's getting out of it. That poor old 1460 is, I can't remember if that's a 60 or a 1440. I think it's a 1460. Anyhow, that thing's just about on its last leg. It's getting pretty thin and pretty wore out, and he doesn't want to have to put any money into it or look for another combine. So that's the other deciding factor. It'd be a good parts machine for somebody. It runs good. It's just the machine itself just wore out. Well, if anybody's interested in a parts machine, when he puts that up for sale, I can let you guys know. He's also got a 5100 soybean special grain drill and the 6-row corn head for that are out by the road for sale right now, if anybody's interested in either one of them. It's 15 foot 5100 with the press wheels. But we'll be seeing more of this field when the time comes. It's only 12 acres, but man, when I was a little kid, this field just seemed huge. And you can see the hay over there, over top of all the stuff. I'll probably end up with that eventually, so. But anyhow, on to the next field. Okay, so this next piece here is, well, you can't see it. We're like an eighth of a mile down the road from the farm where we park all the equipment. This was Tim's mom's, and he bought it, and then he sold it to his daughter who lives in that house now. I grew up with her. There's 25-ish here, but there's still 5 acres of hay out here in the back that we'll see that he's going to keep for a while. Maybe. He hadn't decided yet. I'm not counting on it. I think he's going to keep making it just because he's going to get bored. But so it'll eventually be 25. For now, it's like 20, 21, somewhere in there. But there's this stretch, and then there's that ravine there, and then there's that. But this was always hay too, and there was a 2 acres of sweet corn, an acre on either side of this little lane right here, and we always used to come down here and moldboard plow that, and I helped to put the hay in here too. Spent a lot of time raking hay down here, me and the old 66. And then he finally took, other than that last piece, I think this has been row cropped for, well, this front section was the first piece to go out, and then he took that section out, and then that was hay, and then that finally got taken out. I think the whole thing's probably been row crop for 3-4 years now ish. I'm gonna do this as 2 samples. I'm gonna put one up here and one in the back. think there's a culvert here. I think. Somewhere. The way our county maintains everything, the end of it's probably covered up with dirt. Yeah, maybe not. But either way, we're on the tile right down the center of this low spot, and that'll help a lot of issues if there's enough fall to dump it into that ravine. So here we are in a good spot where you can kind of see this whole field. We were up there in the corner by the road. That's the ravine. This low spot down here also gets really wet. But and then there's the 5 acres of hay right there, and then this wraps up and goes back, and then that's the back property line. It'd be nice, and probably maybe be something we could talk about after Tim decides to get rid of his hay. I think literally all that is a tree. That right there. I think all that is a tree line. I don't think there's a ditch. I think there used to be a fence there, because I think this used to be split up into some different paddocks. But just take that whole thing out and just not have to farm around it anymore would be ideal. But finally getting into some nice, decent open ground, other than this is gonna have some wet holes in it. So another quick story from my childhood on this farm. I was out here raking hay with my 66, and I was using, they have it was either a 56 or a 256, same difference, this one's newer. It was a New Holland 5-bar rake, and they had just put a new shift cable on it. You know, they got the lever up top on the frame, and a cable that runs down to the gearbox, and you throw the lever and it pulls the gearbox out of gear and you let it go. And they had just put a new cable on that, and for some reason or another, the eyelet down on the gearbox shifter broke, and that cable went down and got wrapped up and bound on the axle, started skidding the tires, and we couldn't get the dang thing unwrapped. For all that was a mess. That happened like right here on top of this hill in the center, because I was right here. When I'm not looking at the camera screen, my hand always looks like it's fine up here, but then it looks way up here to you guys. And that was, I think that was before I had my first cell phone. So I couldn't call anybody, but luckily Carrie, the other guy, Tim's friend that he farmed with, was bringing me out a Gatorade. He came trundling up the driveway about the same time it happened, so I wasn't waiting that long. But yeah, that was a fun day. Okay, so this next piece is actually 4 pieces for the price of one. All one landlord, but he owns a pretty good sized chunk of ground, but it's broke up into a bunch of, well, 3 small fields and a big one. So there's this field here, there's 6 acres. This one's kind of wet, but it's really good, like nice dark black dirt. Not muck, but it's black dirt. Used to be able to farm, and it would be kind of a pain, but all this used to be farmed where these weeds are here. And okay, damn camera battery died even though it was at 50%, so I had to go run back home and get another one, which I feel at Grandma and Grandpa's is only just on the other side of these woods here, like 100 yards down the road, so we're not far from home. But we were just at a field that those big trees right there, that's the corner of the field where we were just at. So there's a 6-acre piece right there that wraps up behind this house. There's a little dork on this side of those pine trees right there. So there's 6 acres there. There's this little piece right here. It's probably like a ½ acre, 3/4 of an acre. Again, it stands full of water. Again, this water wouldn't stand here if the county would dig the ditch that's supposed to be right there, but as you can see, there's no ditch. Used to be a ditch there when I was a kid. It's all sedimented chucks. The county won't dig it. And then there's this piece right here, which is, there's 2 acres here, which we can drive on in. I'm hoping, can't see all that water. That water would not be there if the county would dig the ditch and give the water a place to go. I'm hoping, we'll see how receptive, and it's not something I'm going to screw with this winter because I've got enough other tree projects I want to get done on fields I've already had for a while, but I'd like to, because this was obviously a pasture. There's fence down there. It's a fenced in rectangle. Not going to ask about taking the fence out. I think that's unnecessary. Kind of gives the place a little bit of character, and I don't know if he'd go for it anyhow, but it'd be nice. See if I could talk him into taking out this entire patch of trees to square this corner off, and then cutting everything off along there, because there's a dirt road right here. Cutting everything off, leave the fence, but cut all the trees down, or at least do a very, very thorough job of trimming them up all the way down that fence line. And then that would all open up all that light there, and probably do the same thing up this side. Just get all the trees taken down and leave the fence, and really eliminate all the shade. So there's this field, that one. That's this side of the farm. Okay, and then this is the big field on the north side of the farm. There's 20, I think this is about 20. The whole farm, or the whole, everything I'm getting is 30 acres here. 30, 31, something like that. So, but this is the big part. This was all, again, this was all hay. And the thing I remember about making hay out in this field, I raked out here quite a bit. But the thing I remember the most, for some reason, the far side of this field always used to be inundated with box turtles. No idea why. And I remember riding out here, cutting hay with a disc vine. Those things going through the disc vine sounded like gunshots going off when they hit the rollers. Just bang! And I hit a turtle. Then you'd be out here raking 2 days later, and those things have been baking out here in the heat, and my God, the smell. Picking them up in the baler, oh, that was nasty. But they were, every cutting, it's like you never even come close to killing them all. Don't know why. Don't know where they're coming from. Don't know why. It was weird. But that's the story with this field. Here's a view from the other side of the hill. We were down there over the other side of this hill here. So this is the back side of it. Right back in here, where all them turtles always were. And here's one more view. That first field we were in is right there in the other side of these trees where that red barn is. We were standing right back here when the camera died. So, but that's all the new, well, yeah, now you should have seen. I got one more field I got a call on yet. Over by, it's next to another field I already farm. It's like 6-7 acres of grass right now, but weeds. That one of the neighbors over there gave me the phone number too, said I should call on it. So I got a call on that, but other than that, you've seen all the ground that I've picked up so far for this coming year. So get home and get things put away. So I guess that's it for this one. We'll catch you guys on the next one.